Hi guys, on today's episode I'm going to teach you how to make these two different kimono styles. And if you're looking for the difference, it's in the shoulders and in the sleeves. Thanks for tuning in today. Let's get right into the tutorial. So we're using this brocade fabric. Some people call it damask. So just measure the length of the dress and fold it over like so. We won't be opening a shoulder seam for this particular kimono. For the neck width, we're going to take 3.5 inches by 1 inch depth for the back neck width. Later, we'll cut out the front neck width. These are my client's measurements, and then her shoulder to her bust is 11 inches, her shoulder to her waistline is 16 inches, and her shoulder to her hip line is 24 inches. From the shoulder, we're going to take the bust line measurement, which is 11 inches from my client's measurement, and then we're going to mark it and draw a horizontal line to define the level. Next, we're going to take the waistline measurement, which is 16 inches, and we're going to do the same, like so. And then from the waistline, the hip depth is usually about 8 inches from the waistline. But you can also take your client's measurements. For me, from my client, her shoulder to her waistline, her hip line is 24 inches. So you can either take the 8 inches from the waistline downwards, or you can just start your measurement from your shoulder. So for this kind of sleeve, you want to make the width of the kimono to be 23 inches, but for a shorter length like this, you can use 17 inches. So just decide it has to be what your client wants. And to get that measurement, you need to measure from the center of your client's back neck down to where you want the sleeve to drop to on the hand. That's how you get that measurement. And then for our round measurements, this is the formula. So you're going to divide your bust or waist and hips measurement by 4 and then add 4 inches to it. The extra 4 inches we're adding is for the ease, which is 3 inches and 1 inch sewing allowance on the side. So from our measurement, our bust is 38 inches divided by 4, and then when we add 4 inches to it, it will give us 13.5. Her waist measurement is the same as her bust measurement, so it's also going to be 13.5 inches inwards. And then for her hips, we're taking 15.25 because her hips measurement is 45 inches. When you divide that by 4 and add 4 inches, that will give you 15.25. For the armhole, we're going to go down to the waistline and come in by 3 inches on the waistline, and then from there we're going to go below by 1 inch. This is for the armhole depth, and we're going to connect that point to the hip line like so. And we're going to extend the hip line, the 15.25 points downwards to the bottom of the dress. For this method, we're not cutting open the shoulder seams, but if you want to, you can cut open your shoulder seams, especially when you're working with a few yards of fabric. For this kimono, you can use 3.5 yards to 4 yards of fabric to achieve the kimono style. Next, just open it up like so. To open up the front, just take away 1.5 inches from the center front and then mark it downwards. Then next, you connect the neck width down to your waistline at that 1.5 inch mark, and then draw a line connecting the 2 points, that's the neck width to that 1.5 inch point on the waistline, and then you cut it out. To get your desired result for this kimono, you should either use a really thick fabric or you can line the fabric with a satin fabric or a regular lining, preferably a satin fabric. I'll show you how thick one of the kimonos will look when I use a satin fabric to line it. For the shoulder of the kimono to drop like this, you want to go in from the neck width along the shoulder seam by 10 inches, and then from that point you want to mark another 3 inches from that point to create the fold that you can see on the shoulder. The shoulders are different for the two styles. For this one, notice that the shoulder is standing more. So what you'll do for this one, instead of going in by 10 inches along the shoulder seam, you'll go in by 7 inches to create that sharp corner. Go ahead and extend those lines downwards. Sorry that I'm using a white chalk when I'm working on the front part of the fabric. I don't like to use dark colors of chalk. I like to use white because it's easier to clean off when you're done. Fold over the flap like this. You're going to fold the 10-inch point to meet with the 3-inch point on the side. This is what gives it the Agbada effect. And then you're going to create stitches, small stitches like this, just so that it won't be visible. You can also use a hemming gum if you like. Some people use hemming gums, but me, I like to use stitches just so that the Agbada effect doesn't look so flat, because in reality Agbada has this fluffy fold. It's not flat, it has a fluffy fold. So for this particular outfit, I didn't line it. For this particular kimono, I didn't line it. That's why I ironed it to give it a somewhat flat effect. I'll show you the other one that I lined that has a fluffy agbada fold. But like I said earlier, your best bet is to use a very thick damask or brocade fabric to achieve this effect, because look at how fluffy the shoulders are. So next we're going to get the cowl effect on the sleeve. So you want to fold your sleeves over like so, and then you go down from your shoulder by 10 inches and come in by 1 inch. From that point, you're going to mark and connect these points to your armhole depth like so in a curved manner. This curve will give the sleeve a cowl effect. For the second style, we're not going to do that cowl effect because we want the sleeve to have a box result. We don't want it to have a curved sleeve. And then this is how to measure for the flap. When you're measuring a curved measurement, when you're taking a curved measurement, you want to stand your tape up like so. And then from there, I just measured all the way down to get the length of my flap. For the flap, you can either use the fabric or a plain fabric, and then the width is going to be 5 inches. For the sleeve facing, I used the 2.5 inches, and then I hemmed it and then attached, because brocade fabric frays a lot, so I decided to hem it first and then fold it over like so. And then you're going to use a hemming gum to hold the sleeve facing in place so that it just stays properly. I eventually used a plain fabric for the flap just to project the brocade fabric properly, just to give it a beautiful contrast. If you notice, the kimono has a belt inside for in case you want to tighten the waistline. Remember, our waistline depth is 16 inches from the shoulder. So create a mark at that point and then go in by 5 inches on that point to mark where you're going to attach your belt. Confirm the length from the shoulder again and then create a cross just so that it's as accurate as possible. Then you're going to attach your belt like so, fitting it towards the center front flap, just so that you can hide the stitch you're going to create. Make sure you clean your chalk marks like this. You can use wipes or you can use a clean cloth, and then embellish your flap like you want to. For this second method, like I said, we're not going to do the cowl effect on the sleeve area. It's a boxed sleeve. And then this is how I attach the flap. Notice I lined this one. The way I attach the flap, I hid the front seams like so. So you want to fold over the flap. The flap is 5 inches, remember. So you want to attach it to the right side on the front, and then towards the inside rather, you fold it over by about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, and then pin it down. For this method, I'm not going to allow my stitches show in front, so I'm going to sew in between the joining of the flap and the brocade fabric. For this more structured shoulder effect, like I said earlier, I will mark 7 inches along the shoulder seam, and then from that point we'll go in again by 3 inches. Remember the initial kimono style, we used 10 inches. That's because the shoulder dropped more than this style. So for this more pointy shoulder, while using 7 inches, extend that line downwards just like we did with the initial style, and then make sure that the shoulders, for this one that has shoulder seams, make sure that the seams are aligning, and then take the 7-inch points to meet the 3-inch point, and then pin. And then we're going to create stitches like we did initially to hold the flap. The stitches we're creating are just tiny stitches of like sewing back and forth just to hold those 3 points. And notice how neat the flap is on the inside. And then I attached the belt to the lining. That's why it's not showing in front. But for the other style, there's no lining, so I attached the belt directly. This is the first style. If you notice, the sleeve opening is smaller than that of the other one. That's because of the cowl effect, the way we curved it from the shoulder, that 10-inch point. And notice that the shoulder of this one is sharper than this one that is dropping more. You can bead or embellish your flap like you want to. Then we're going to attach snap buttons just in case the client wants to close up the opening of the flap. So don't attach the pressing button or snap button to the flap. It will be very obvious. Attach it to just by the side of the flap. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Bye.